Greetings YouTube, and welcome to my latest build, which is not a weapon. This is a stool. Now I like this little stool. I picked it up for $3 at an estate sale, mostly because I didn't know, would a stool fit into my shop both physically and in use? And the reality is, it does work. I found it to be quite handy to have around. This is a comfortable seat. Few things about it though that I don't really love. One, it's fairly wide, as far as from the two wheelbases from there to there. That just takes up a little bit more space, and I'm always seem to be bumping into things when I'm using it. And two, the casters are really not great. I don't know if these were meant for like wood, like, you know, a conventional floor, as opposed to going across an industrial style, you know, cement floor, but they're not so great. However, this right here has got some really nice casters. Now this is an industrial stand, specifically a stand that was designed to hold inserts. And I got it for nothing. And it is made from this tubular steel here. And I think I can convert this base into a base for this. And my idea is to cut off the straight section right down to that union. So I take the straight section and the seat are going to come right off this thing, zip, with my angle grinder, and it's done. And I actually already have an idea for the use for the base that'll be left. So, not going to waste. I will have to figure out the height before I do that, so that I can then figure out where I'm going to need to cut off this, and then I need to get a transition between that round 1-inch diameter piece of tubing and this, which is 2 inches in diameter on the inside. Well, it's a little less than 2. It's like 2.8 inches. That's a weird size, but regardless, it'll work. And the transition I'm going to do is going to be a piece of old wood I've got kicking around. Now this is not an ideal transition. I would have preferred hardwood. This is not hardwood, but I don't have the ability to really dimension lumber. I can't really change lumber's dimension easily. I have no planer here. I'm not doing it by hand with hand planes. I know it's conceivable. I'm not doing it. I'm not that guy. And I don't have an electric planer, nor do I have a setup that would really hold a piece of wood properly for electric planing. I'm sure I could come up with something. I am clever. I mean, even if I'm not a woodworker, but I don't have that ability at this minute. So this thing fits. It's rectangular, not square, but it does fit, and it's a little bit of slop, but not too much. And I'm going to take advantage of this pin here, and that's going to be what holds this in place. So I'm going to cut a length of this. I'm going to drill a hole here. It'll be 1-inch diameter. I just bought a brand new Forstner bit for that purpose. Excuse me. And I will be then cutting a cross hole where I'll use that pin to hold the whole thing in place. And so that will be the transition between the round shaft and the square shaft. But hopefully it'll work. I don't know. I have to take some measurements. I haven't done that yet to figure out how much of this I'm going to cut off. Whatever I cut off will be saved for other projects. In this top section, I'm just going to pull off, and I will find a use for it at some point. I don't know what I'll use it for. It seems kind of an interesting shape. It's got these things, and these little nubs here were designed so that the inserts wouldn't slide off. This is got really nice casters on it. One of them, the lock is wonky, but the other 3 locks work. So it's also a nice option that I could then have locks in place if I want to not have the thing move. If I need the stool to be stationary, boom, it's now stationary. And these are much better, higher quality casters designed to be used for an industrial environment, as opposed to the other one, which is apparently designed for a much lighter. It's almost office-like. The guy who I bought this from used it in a shop. He used this in a shop. That's where I bought it from. But it's almost like these were meant for an office, because they're very, very light. It's the kind of thing you find in office chairs. So yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not thrilled with those. But again, I have a use for that base, so that's going to get reused. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is knock this down, take this apart, put it somewhere else, put the pin and such aside, figure out what height I want this thing to be at, and then cut it off. And once that is done, deburr the inside, deburr the outside, 'cause I don't want any sharp edges, and then start working on the wood. And I also kind of like the color. I gotta be honest. The nice kind of a, you know, not quite. Is that true blue? Maybe it is true blue. True blue, kind of an industrial vibe to it. That makes me smile. And I'm leaving the sticker on there just because, you know, why not? So, first thing I gotta do is take this apart, take some measurements, and then we can figure out where I need to cut this off. I already know where I need to cut that off. Unfortunately, this thing is a very awkward shape for mounting for cutting, because I really want it to be stable, to be safe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it like this on both sides of the cut line, and I'm going to come in with my angle grinder, cut this. I will then shut it down. I will rotate it 90 degrees and then do it again. I've already got it marked on all four sides, so I'm all set on that. And then I'll get a flap wheel out and grind it as square as I can and knock the edges off the outside. On the inside, I will probably whip out my power file to knock those edges off. So that's probably the easiest way of accomplishing this. That's going to be the safest. Nothing will move this way. I'm not going to have to worry about a weight shifting on me. And in fact, when I get down to that last cut, I may even clamp it again in a third spot. I'm not going to do it right now because everything's stable. But in that last cut, I may clamp it in a third spot just so I know nothing's going to shift on me. Because the worst thing in the world is when you've got a power tool and you're working with it and something shifts, things can go south very fast. Alrighty, so I'm set up now to drill the hole here for the shaft. This is a 1-inch Forstner bit. I've never used this particular tool yet. I mean, I've used Forstner bits now, but this is a brand new drill bit. First time out of the chute. Let's see how it goes. It seems like it bound up a little. Alright. I thought I had something locked down, but apparently I do not have it as locked down as I thought I had. Alright, let's try that again. That is as far down as it will go. I'm out of stroke. Take this out. It's a beautiful hole. It is not perfectly in the center, but it's a beautiful hole. I gotta tell you, I love these Forstner bits. They are just too darn awesome. So now I need to get this mounted. I've already drilled the cross hole for the pin. That's already set. And because this is rectagonal, I am going to have here be the motion side to side, so everything should now be as secure as I possibly can get it, and if I'm wrong I can always drill it the other way. I freely admit that I'm human. So let's get this thing put together. The base should all be done. The seat has been cut off its former base. And now it's just assembly time, and let's hope this works. And here we are, my stool reborn. I think it's actually slightly lower than it was before. I have to take some exact measurements, but I have the option of changing the height in this stool, and I didn't have that option in my last one, so that's kind of awesome. So I'm very happy with this. I got it. The seat still swivels because it's pivoting in that hole. There's a little bit of slop here, not a whole lot, but not enough to worry about. It's not going to fall apart. Take my word for it. My weight's going to hold that in place. The casters are much nicer. It's heavier, even though it moves nicely. It's heavier, which makes it kind of sit on the floor a little bit more firmly. I kind of like that. I kind of like having that heavier steel base than the other one. One thing I'd like to point out is that a lot of the sawing I do in my shop is very crude. It's nothing fancy. I'm not doing fine workmanship. I do have some reverse cutting Japanese pull saws in my shop, and I do use those occasionally when it's called for. But a lot of the time, I'm using this. This is a Silky Big Boy folding saw. It's got a 50 centimeter blade. They actually make a 100 centimeter version of this. It's called the Katana. Real shocker on that one. This is simply the finest pruning saw I've ever encountered in my entire life, and it works beautifully at the kind of cutting that I need in my shop. Just like taking chunks off that piece of wood, perfect. I got a nice square cut because I have a decent eye. Finish is good. Beautiful job. Folds up, out of the way, no worries. This thing is wonderful. In fact, it is such a nice saw that I have not only convinced my wife to get one, because she is a professional gardener, but she has spread the gospel to other gardeners. So there are people out there who are professional gardeners who now know about Silky saws and own their own because of me, which makes me smile. I have spread the gospel of Silky. And that is S-L-I-K-Y. There's nothing special on that one. So yeah, I'm really happy with this little stool. It came out very nicely. And it's more compact base size. I think it's got a more solid feel. It is adjustable, which it wasn't before. And I have a purpose for the other section of the base that the seat came off of. So this is a win-win-win for me. I am very happy. Okay, so thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And I hope you come back for the next one.